I mean, I think that's right. I think a lot of pitchers are working on that. You rarely hear fastball. I think that's the thing, and I think it's frankly because it's the pitch they practice the most, so they feel most comfortable with that pitch. And it's for most guys. There is a breaking ball that's a second pitch, and so the changeup ends up being the third pitch for most guys. So that's going to be the pitch you're practicing more. Like I would take changeup out of there and just say that pitchers are looking for weapons, and they're looking for kind of ways to get hitters out, more things to put in hitters' head. Add pitches that tunnel off their other pitchers. So they're always, and this is the time when, look, if you're on the team, this is when you do it, because you have some time when the results don't matter, and so it's for guys like Junior and Ulisse, you never know what can come out of these times, and so it's time for a little bit of time for some experimentation. Well, I mean, for Alex, it's he wouldn't be talking about the changeup. He would be on the slider, because the changeup is definitely on par with the fastball as far as what he's comfortable with. The reason why Alex changeup is so good is because it's very unique. Nobody throws a changeup like he throws it, and then hitters hate things they don't see a lot. And so his changeup is something comes from a place and feels like it spins like not that a normal changeup does. And I think that's a large reason why he has a lot of success with it. Definitely, I think it's important to just get out in front of it, and so we've. The players they know they have options. Players know they have options, I mean, I think, and they know it's a possibility. Their goal is to kind of there's players that have options that we're not talking about that with, and so you try to get yourself out of that category, and that's that's within the realm of reason for a bunch of guys too. If you're performing at a level where we don't want to consider it, that's part of it too. But yeah, we do have the conversation. We had a couple conversations this morning about that topic, and it's important to be upfront about it. I think we know they know what's happening. We know what's happening. Let's acknowledge it. No, I think look, if you're on the roster, or, the 40-man roster. You're part of it. It feels like the way kind of our roster has worked the last couple of years. There might be a couple players on the development track, but then, 38 of the guys on the roster are on, they're in consideration for the big leagues, the big league roster, really, in the way we're going to use our roster. So, I thought the best statement of that really was that. In September in 2018, we called up. No player we called up had not been with us already, so we're going to use these guys that are on the roster, throughout the season. Josh, look, he's got a lot of starting experience in the big leagues. He's had success in the big leagues. We've had a good conversation already. He had a rough 2018 where he couldn't get on track. He did a lot of work this off season in evaluating that, and I think that's important. Has very clear ideas of what he wants to try to do to kind of amend that, and so the thing I got most from Josh is very clear thinker on what he wants to do, and that's and a very clear path to kind of accomplish that this spring. So that's a good place to be, I think, and he just goes out and does it. Yeah, well, I mean, I think would understand like what that. I think it can happen in a number of different ways. So I think he's got a number of paths for more weapons. It might be more strikes. It might be better command. So it doesn't have to be necessarily more pitches. It might be more velocity. So it could be a number of different. There's a number of different ways other than a new pitch. I think that's kind of the traditional ways to think, oh, it's always got to be a new pitch. I think there's other ways for Freddie, because I think we've seen Freddie. It's hard to say if watch the number of Freddie starts and say he needed anything else.
They never hit it.
Right. So I'm very comfortable saying like the best version of Freddie is going to have a lot of success with what he has. It's a new year. This is a brand new team with players in different places in their lives, in different places in their careers, different interactions. I mean, I compared it to soup last year. We're going to make the soup again. Some of the ingredients are the same, but there's some different ingredients in that room, and so it's not the same, and it's just not going to be the same. And you don't get in these rooms by not moving forward, So we're going to move forward, and my comment to you is that this team hasn't accomplished anything. We haven't. We're just not even together yet. We haven't even all spent the day together. So this is a brand new team. Your head's always on the day and winning and everything like that, and so there's no time frame for it, man. I mean, I think perspective gives us all an advantage of seeing things in a different light, and as the years go on, we'll grow fonder of what happened. That's just how we all get, right? We get better and better looking and better at our jobs as the farther we get from it, So that's how we'll always think about that stuff. I think I'm excited that we have. The challenge gets just thrown right back in your lap, in my opinion. So it's like it's turning the page, moving on to what's next. It's not that hard, man. It really isn't. I mean, it's because it's right in your face every day, man. And I think for these guys too, man, they got a challenge. You step in the box against a pitcher, or a pitcher steps, on the rubber and facing a hitter, and there's a challenge right in front of you. And it's what's happened yesterday doesn't matter.